Now, it's time for Straight on the Point with your host from some undisclosed location. Here's Jesse T.
Yeah. We are back. We are back together again as we move ever so close to the weekend. Yeah, so weather is starting to change here on the Pacific Coast. The sun is staying up just a little bit longer as we move towards spring. It's starting to get kind of springy temperatures out there, warming up in the daytime and the nighttime. Hey, it's back on the air and everywhere from the community to the world. It's me, Jesse T. Good to have you with us here on the
For him,
Sessions.
Staying on
Country, and that's the job that they do. He wasn't the attorney general yet, and so prior to the election, I mean, he can talk to anybody he wants to talk to.
Was he campaigning on behalf?
No, he was just doing senator work. That's what senators do. They talk.
But he lied.
No, he didn't. He said the question was, here's the question. The question was, have you ever talked to a Russian about the campaign? That's what it was. And he said, no, I did not. But it doesn't preclude him from talking to Russian ambassadors and Italian ambassadors and
I think the
Chile
question was
ambassadors.
more like, did you have a meeting? Did you have a meeting with any of them?
He can have a meeting with him because
But
he's
he
a
said
senator.
no.
He's a senator.
But he said no.
To talk about the...
Did he have a conversation or a meeting with any...
When you pull...
Well, let's pull that question.
When you pull the statement, you'll see that his response was correct to the question that was asked. So he, as a senator, has the ability to speak to anybody he wants to. That's part of his job.
I understand that, but I think the way the question was worded, he may have perjured himself.
I don't think so. Not the way I read it. Not the way I've seen it. But anyhow, it's good to have you along with us here, bringing on my pal, Cy Richardson, as facebook.com/ Jesse T, Jesse Terrero, and Facebook as we archive the show about his Russian involvement.
Representing 16 agencies released a declassified intelligence report stating, and quote, we assess Russian President Vladimir Putin ordered an influence campaign in 2016 aimed at the U.S. presidential election, unquote. And yet, despite the consensus among our intelligence agencies, President-elect Trump has remained persistently skeptical. During the first presidential debate, he wondered aloud whether the responsible party could be China or, quote, somebody sitting on their bed that weighs 400 pounds someplace, again. I mean, they have no idea. And even after the release of the declassified report, the president...
That's not even a question directed to him.
I did mean to indicate I respect the FBI and I respect the fact that if they give a conclusion, they believe it's accurate. But I'm not able to comment on the president-elect's comments about it.
Yeah, that's not the question.
So CNN has just published
what we got there,
a story,
and
I'm telling you,
the basic crux of it is in terms of Session. What did he know when he was a senator versus what did he know when he was... Senators allowed to do their job. It's called a job, and that's what they do. They talk to ambassadors. They talk to all kinds of companies. They talk to world leaders. That's what they do. And they're at liberty to speak about that and the things that they need to talk about, to set up some great leaders. Even the rebuttal after President Trump, a speech to Congress... The person they used for a rebuttal, I mean, really? I mean, come on now. They could have put on somebody else that really impacted and had leadership qualities. This guy's retiring out. He looks like, he just doesn't represent the DNC today, the Democratic National Committee. They should have had somebody else that had more fire, more, So they're at a loss right now as to kind of where they're going, a ship without a sail. And that's what they're digging for. Anyhow, Vincent Martinez, thanks a lot for checking out with us. Live Wires radio show has checked in with us, too, as well. And Desert Productions has checked with us. And I will say this. Hey, if they're guilty, then they're going to go down. That's the bottom line. It's just that simple. If Sessions is guilty and there's concrete evidence that President Trump participated in having backdoor communications, direct or indirect, that he directed to happen and influenced the United States election, that's fine. But let's talk about what influences the United States election. What about the 2 or 3 or 4 million votes that they've checked that were done by illegals? Okay, let's talk about that. Let's go the influencers of the United States election. Our electoral process, our election process was tainted by people who couldn't even be here to vote, but yet they voted. Okay, let's talk about the fake Social Security cards and the fake driver's license. Let's talk about all that stuff. That's concrete evidence. That stuff has come out already. That by independent panels, they've already released that information that yes, there was rigged elections and they found millions of votes. So let's talk about that, and if that other stuff happens, then they need to pay the consequences of their actions. It's that simple. But until then, this is just alleged stuff, witch hunting, fake news, trying to gravitate the Main Street media, which is owned by the liberal agenda, all over this country. Period. That's what it is. And they're at a loss, they're like a ship in the ocean without a sail. So in that respect. But nevertheless, California is crazy messed up. We got a mayor, many people that are fed up with a mayor that has done absolutely nothing for the community over his mayorship. It's unbelievable what this guy hasn't done. Hey, let's talk about the officer that was killed in Whittier. Let's talk about the guy who was released, whether he was early released or not. Okay, it doesn't matter. He was released. Let's talk about that guy. Why should he have any rights? Why should he have any rights at all? He should stay in jail. And what about the ones that are early release? What about the ones that 57 kicked out? What about the sanctuary city problems? What about the homeless being able to go poo and pee all over the city because there's not enough bathrooms, Mayor? What about that? What about home $50 million in deficit? That's what we are right now in the city of Los Angeles, and that's projected to go to almost $1 billion, $750 million. We talked about that earlier in the week. So let's talk about the agenda of California and how California is being destroyed, just completely and utterly dismantled by everything. Let's talk about the poo in the Tijuana River, the 143 billion gallons of sewage waste that Mexico diverted to the Tijuana River on purpose because they were fixing some sewer line on their side of the border, and they diverted it, and it's all over San Diego now. It's all the way up to Coronado. I mean, that's where the Navy SEALs practice, right there in that bay, and Coronado Hotel's right there. There's an island called Coronado. I mean, that stuff is going to be in there for 5, 8, 10 years. So when we start talking about the things that we should be talking about, rather than talking about this nonsense, this guy is going to be the greatest president you've ever seen. I'm telling you, hey, when he came down the escalator, I knew he was. When he started going up against Clinton, I knew he was going to win, especially why all of a sudden now did WikiLeaks come up with something? Why all of a sudden did they have all these people releasing these secret documents that they've had forever and ever? Why all of a sudden did they tarnish Hillary Clinton at this point in her career? Why was that? Have you ever asked yourself that question? It's because the Democratic and the Republican Party are a bunch of Republicans and Democrats, and they're all governed by one entity, the elite of the world deal. I can talk about that all day long because these people don't owe you nothing. They owe the people that put them in power. And Donald Trump's worth $3 to $4 billion. Don't you think he's got something back there? Come on now. All right, they're going to promise him he's going to be worth $100 billion when he gets out of 8 years of being the president. I mean, it's not theirs. It's the taxpayer. It's yours. Why aren't you complaining about that? Why aren't we complaining about all those things? Why are we complaining about this stupid stuff? He's the president. If he did something bad, he's going to go down. But they can't find anything. And they're not going to find anything because there's nothing to find. That's that. They're trying to do this Watergate investigation. They had something to find there. They had guys breaking in flashlights in the middle of the night at the Watergate Hotel. There's a hotel there called Watergate, right? And there's offices there. All right. So that's what they did. I mean, let's talk about that. in that respect, but not this. The guy's. Hey, look, he's not going to get all this stuff that he wants to get done that you saw in Congress, that he was talking to Congress. It's not. He's not. That would be like $90 trillion to get all that stuff done. It's not going to happen. But if he can get a half a dozen of those things done, like let's set all the immigrants back. You're criminals. Period. End quote. Get rid of the sanctuary cities. That finished. Done. Pull the federal funding. Washington State now is a sanctuary state. It's the first state in the United States of America. It's a sanctuary state. Hey, you want to live free? Go up there. You want to make $40,000 to $60,000 living on the jaws, so I got to pay your friggin' taxes and to the government so that they can pay you the federal funds up in Washington. You can keep shooting your the friggin' street in Seattle. Go ahead. Go appeals, the circuit court, most liberal court in the nation. They should break that thing up and make it 3 extra courts. I mean, let's talk about why we are being imposed upon. Why? That's really the key. We're never going to have another party. It's never going to be in this country. There's never going to be a third party. It's never going to happen in your lifetime. Not mine and not my kids. It's never, because it's designed for aircraft carrier battle groups. We got more toxic bombs. We got more nuclear bombs. We got the best armament. We got satellites with lasers. We got everything. No one's going to impose upon us. And if we want to shut China down, we can shut them down in a blink of an eye. We don't need them. We don't need anybody in this country. That's what this country's been about since the day it was the day of incarnation. It's a business. America is a business. And if you don't get online with the business, then you're going to get bots coming down the line. So let's talk about that stuff. Let's talk about why the MS-13 gang members that were in court just the other day. Let's talk about this one. MS-13 gang members were in court the other day. They raped and murdered a 19-year-old girl, and then a whole bunch of them. Then they got thrown in jail, and they had their court date the other day, and they left. Please, you have done nothing, all right? And anybody who understands what's really going on in this city understands that, this city is out of control. This city is out of control. Why don't we have enough police like New York? New York has a legion. I mean, it's like a Roman legion. I mean, they got like 40,000 coppers in New York. 40,000 for a size of an island, right? About the size of the San Fernando Valley. I mean, we're spread out. So let's talk about that. Why don't we have 40,000 police officers? Because he doesn't have enough place to go poo and pee. Let's talk about that. That's the problem. You start doing that and compounding that over and over and over and over and over, day to day to day to day to day to day for years. If Trump if he did bad and it can be proven, I'm going to be the first out there to say, hey, the dude needs to go to jail. Okay? I got no alignment to him. I voted for him, but I got no alignment to him. He better do what he said and said what he did. I'll tell you this much. In my lifetime, there's no president that's ever done as much as he's done in 36 days. Now, whether or not he's going to get any of that stuff done in Congress, I have no idea. He probably will get some of it done. They're not going to let 12 million people have no health insurance. It's not going to happen. You would have civil revolt in this country now with that. If you just yanked it out from beneath that, that's stupid, silly thinking. It's illogical. They're going to find another way. It's going to institute itself. It's going to mold and mix, and they're going to come out at the other end, and everybody's going to have their insurance. He doesn't have insurance. He pays his own way because he can afford it. So, I mean, you got to use some logic and common sense here. What's so bad about protecting our nation? What's so bad about protecting our interests around the world? You want China to govern the South China Sea? I think there was something like $11 trillion or $2 trillion of commerce and stuff that comes through the South China Sea. You want them to be able to deal with that? Or do you want to deal with that? What's so bad about throwing these Islamic jihadist, fanatical, psychopath killers, keeping them at bay? What's wrong with that? What's wrong with vetting them? Their countries don't vet them. So let's delay the process so we can vet them. So what? I don't want one of those nutheads moving in by me. That's for sure. I mean, this is just common sense and logic. You know? And the Democrats sit on their hands. They sit on their hands. They don't even get up and stand and hooray for good jobs, for unity. Because those people, they're paid to fight. They're paid to keep the chaos and the anarchy. It's unbelievable. What about those 3 guys who aren't even IT specialists? And in the Obama administration, those 3 guys for Congress are supposed to be like anti-terrorist IT specialists, right? 2 families, 3 guys, and they just got fired because they don't even know IT. And our local congressman here in the San Fernando Valley, Tony Cardenas, he was using them just like all the other ones were. I mean, what about the fact-checking on these guys? I mean, what you see. If you can't find something that's really concrete, then you just create a bunch of noise. And eventually, what's so wrong with the Democrats and the Republicans that they can't get together and make this country great? What's so wrong with having our country great? You know, this women's movement, the people that are behind this, there's a jihadist woman she wears a hijab, and she's behind this on the East Coast. And on the West Coast, there's a lady who was thrown in jail in Israel for terrorism. She actually killed people, rallying up these women's marches and protests. Really? Why wasn't there any protests about the cop who got killed in Whittier? Why wasn't there any protest about the sheriff's deputy got killed in Lancaster? Why are we even letting these criminal nutcases loose? Because they found God? Because they put on a happy face in their incarceration? Throw the key away. 3 strikes, you're out. Life, thank you. Goodbye. Too bad. So, I mean, I could argue this stuff all day. But I don't want to argue it all day. I'm not going to argue this anymore and talk about it because today we're moving to the weekend. And I don't want to be all riled up over the weekend. I got a terrific thing I'm doing actually this weekend on Saturday. On Saturday, I'm going to Joycelyn Lou's roast. And Lee is going to go with me. We have tickets Saturday, Lee, to go to Joycelyn Lou's roast. Well, bring the mic up here a second. Yeah, I want to talk about her a little bit. You know, she invited me out and she said, "Bring Lee, right. Bring Lee." Right?
I'll be there.
And you expressed an interest to go there, so
I sure did.
She was a blast, wasn't she?
Yeah, she was a lot of fun.
I mean, she kept up with me, and in some places, I think she surpassed my. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's all for a nonprofit charitable organization. I think the tickets are about $35, but it goes to a charity. But it should be a lot of fun because she gets to, with her pace and her brain and her mouth, she's going to throw some zingers back, I think.
Oh, I think she will.
Because she knows all these guys. And she's going to toss some zingers back at them. That's going to be funny.
Yeah, she can hold her own. Yeah. I'm looking forward to it. It should be a fun night.
So it's 5:00, and I'll get the address and post it up here. Maybe talk about it a little more tomorrow.
Yeah.
But did you hear how much it cost an hour to run Air Force One?
No.
$200,000 an hour.
That's a big bill. I don't want that one.
And it's the reason why is because they take 2 Air Force Ones.
That's right.
They take the whole armada of vehicles, the Beast. Did you see the new Beast that they're making?
It's pretty cool. No, they don't have it out yet? What was that Trump has been riding in?
Well, that's the old Beast.
Oh, I thought that was the new one.
The new Beast is bigger than the old Beast. It's going to be a Cadillac. GM is making it, right?
Okay.
But it makes a Suburban, and it makes the old Beast look small.
Oh.
It's a new Beast. It's a beast.
The beast of all beasts.
So they bring a couple of those, right? And they bring all the Suburbans, right? They travel with about 200 people. There's about 60 on the plane, Air Force One, and on the other plane, the reporters are flying, and the Secret Service and all that. And I didn't realize it was such an ordeal.
Oh, yeah.
$200,000 an hour to move the
huge.
president.
But not only that, the advance team
Right.
that goes out. Because I saw the Beast here in L.A., right near where I live, gassing up at a regular gas station. There was the local police with him, the CIA, FBI, the Boy Scouts of America guarding these cars as they were getting gassed up.
Yeah, can you imagine?
I got pictures of it.
Can you imagine some guy wanted to carjack that, right?
Oh, yeah, good luck. You'd rather brush your teeth with razor blades than to mess with that. Okay? It ain't happening.
Yeah, I had the chance to see the Beast that Obama was in when he would do the late night show with Jay Leno all the time when it was in NBC in Burbank.
Right.
They come zooming down. You know, they don't just drive very slow. They come zooming down the street at 65, 75 miles an hour.
They got to get it. Yeah.
They don't mess around.
No,
You know?
not at all.
You know, and there were two Beasts, and you didn't know which one the president was in.
That is correct.
And they go by so fast that you don't know.
No, it's a blur.
It really is. So, you know, but anyhow, $200,000 an hour,
That's a lot.
And they're making a new Beast, Super Beast.
Now, how often do they change the cars and or the Air Force One?
Well, the plane, the 740, you know, Reagan at the Reagan Museum, he has his plane. It was a 707, right? Mm-hmm. That's the one they used all the way up until Reagan. Reagan ordered the first 747s. So they came in after his presidency.
So the first Bush got that one.
Yeah, the first Bush got the 747.
Okay.
And every president has had this 747.
It's the same one. Huh?
Yeah, but this 747 has been reconditioned, new engines, new electronics, new. I mean, they can refuel this plane in the sky.
I thought they could do that before.
No, this is rather a new part of it. They can also they also have missile technology in this, stealth missile technology. It pops out. I mean, they got all kinds of things now in this 747. And they just renovated the new engines. They just put brand new engines in there a couple of years ago that are more powerful than these. And so, but they're talking about, you know, making another 747. And if you recall, when Trump became president first, that was one of the first things that he looked at and said, you know, we shouldn't pay $4 billion for one plane, right? And so they got some reduction going on. But they're going to get a new plane. But it's probably won't be, if President Trump is only president for 4 years, he probably won't fly in that. It takes several years to
build it out.
Create a new plane.
Yeah.
So if he runs again, and you know he'll run again, and he wins, then he'll get the new plane somewhere in a second term, and that'll be the more modern plane. It's like the aircraft carriers that they developed, like this new aircraft carrier that they've been testing. They're going to have several years of sea trials.
Oh,
you know?
yeah, absolutely.
I mean, before they put that thing in harm's way.
What is this one called? Is it named after a president?
Yes, it is. It's the Ford.
The Ford.
Yeah.
Wow, why so late?
Not Ford. It's Ford. Again,
Right.
there's a Kennedy.
Right.
There's a Nimitz. There's an Enterprise, which they just decommissioned and they're rebuilding it already. They already have one that they started called the Enterprise.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. This is the, I think this is the Ford.
Wonder why it took them so long to honor him.
He was just falling down too much.
He was tripping.
Yeah, in fact, you know, what you don't know is President Ford created the concept of tripping. Because after that, everybody's gone tripping.
Yeah, right. He was tripping, all right. Wow, you don't hear much talk about him.
No, because, you know, he did run, but he lost.
Yeah.
I thought he would have been a good president had he been reelected. He was a statesman of statesmen. That's what he did. And but just for the future,
Right.
I think the public kind of said,
no, you can't do that, man.
Yeah.
Come on.
So I think that probably hurt his image a little bit.
Yeah.
And then we got Carter. Oh, yikes. Poor
Carter
Carter.
was a good guy. He was.
You know,
cool.
he was a good guy. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Probably the smartest president we've ever had. He was a quantum physicist.
Right.
You know, absolutely. But he just was out of his realm, unfortunately, on the international scene especially.
Yeah, he had a tough time with that Iran thing.
Yeah, the humanitarian efforts that he did were all real good, and obviously that's what he's done. Oh yeah, he's actually been one of the best presidents after being president in the humanitarian stuff.
Definitely.
Even though I still don't agree with his politics, never did, but But he's done a lot of good things for a lot of good people.
Absolutely.
I hope Obama does that too. I hope he doesn't run back into the fray of the political agenda. I hope he and Michelle just ride off into the sunset and do good things.
I think they will.
Well, they just got a $40 or $60 million book deal.
$60 million, yeah.
Yep.
That's good.
Yep. And they think that the prognosticators of presidential economics, after their president, think that they're going to be probably able to make about $250 million.
Good for them.
So they're going to be even more than the Clintons.
George W. just released his new book.
Yeah, he's doing the talk show circuit.
Yeah, I saw him on Ellen.
He actually
today.
looks pretty good.
Yeah, and he's funny. He's loosened up a bit.
Hey, man, he was a party boy when he ran the Texas Rangers.
Yeah,
Come on,
yeah.
man. He was drinking and smoking.
Yeah, he came out dancing today on Ellen's show, and he cracked a funny on himself. He says, "I don't know if I was dancing or not, but I'm sober."
Yeah, that's right. Because he was hitting that sauce when he was the president of the Rangers.
Yeah, he was a rocker and roller.
Oh, he was. Don't get you wrong. He
Yeah.
was never supposed to be president. You know, Jeb was supposed to be president, but old man Bush had some things to say about Jeb. He didn't like how Jeb married. Because I don't like the Bushes. I never liked the Bushes at all. I thought they were an evil, satanic organization that dated back 1,000 years, and I couldn't stand them because they killed a lot of Americans.
I think a lot of people would agree with you on that.
I was never a Bush guy. I was a Reagan guy. I became even more of a Reaganite in the second term, but I did not want Bush. I did not want him as vice president, but that was a political cooperation that they had to do. But when he became president, I went, oh, great. The head of the CIA, great, for 30 years. And who was at the Kennedy assassination? Great. Standing on the hospital doorsteps as the ambulance is coming in. Yeah, and I knew nothing about it, right? Yeah.
Well, you shouldn't have been the head of the CIA then. Right?
Well, yeah,
if you knew nothing about it.
Right. Logic doesn't.
So you're sleeping on the job.
Talk about warp drive and bending space. That's a quick bend of logic. It doesn't work for me.
Other than the fact that if something was to happen to the president, how important is the vice president?
The vice president acts as some vice presidents are diminished to do nothing. Mm-hmm. Some presidents, like LBJ's vice president, is diminished to do really nothing.
Yeah.
Just be basically yes
man.
I can't remember who it is, but that's how insignificant it was.
Who was it, the one that misspelled potato?
Oh, that was Reagan's first. That was Quayle. Quayle, right?
Yeah.
You are no John Kennedy, Jack Kennedy. Remember, you are no Jack Kennedy. What a great line that was in that debate.
Yeah.
But so vice presidents, when they're diminished to do nothing, they just become like basically ceremonial stuff. They take care of all that stuff, but vice presidents who actually have the opportunity to usurp some kind of decision-making process, they have more chance of laying out their causes and their name as long as it's within what the president wants. I think that probably Pence is probably going to be more important to Trump than Biden was to Obama.
What about Cheney to Bush?
I think Cheney was the root of all evil. Halliburton and the company before Halliburton was another name of a company. I was just reading about it, and that company actually. Oh, there's some. I've got to dig this one up.
Blackwater?
No,
That was
we're
a
going back to the
security
1960s.
Oh, okay.
Halliburton, when it wasn't Halliburton, it was actually something else.
Oh, and it was renamed?
Oh, yeah, it was renamed. Yeah. But Cheney was not. Cheney and the whole Bush contingent. I just fought them on every way I could. I just did not like what they did.
Yeah, I always thought
I
Cheney
believe.
was the guy.
But you see, I believe, and I've always believed this, and as time has gone on, I believe it even more and more and more. The destruction of the World Trade Towers was an inside job to move America to hate the people in the Middle East and to hate the Islamic ideology, so that they could go to war over there and not get the oil, because they already had the oil through Saudi Arabia. That was negotiated by J. Paul Getty at the end of World War II. J. Paul Getty was the guy who found those oil wells in Saudi Arabia and really, really created what it was. The Germans were doing some drilling there. That's why England wanted them, because they didn't have any natural oil. And the Germans got all their petrol, their oil products from the desert.
Right.
That's why they sent their marshal, the best guy they had, Rommel, there to control that.
Right.
And when they lost that, J. Paul Getty, the Getty Museum guy, who was Chevron, he came in there and really designed that whole system. And then we created the sultans, we created the sheiks, so the oil wasn't the issue. What the issue was is the banking. In my opinion, the finance and the economy, the banking. Prior to going into Iraq, prior to the World Trade Towers being dropped, okay, each one of those entities had their own national currency. Hussein was paying everything in gold. Okay, he was trading with his local partners in the area, the regional partners, in gold. Okay, Gaddafi had the denarii, and that was starting to gain value. In fact, people would ask me, "Do you want to buy some denarii because it was worth this last month and it's going to be worth this 3 months?" Do you remember that?
Yeah, I do.
Right.
Yeah.
So he had his own, and he basically snubbed his nose at the United States government banking system and said, "I'm going to trade with all my partners in the region with my denarii," and he was, and so was Hussein. Then you had, Afghanistan, and they were just still in the rock ages, really. I mean, they had the heroin in the poppy fields. All right,
exactly.
Gee, run by the CIA, the largest drug organization in the world. Okay.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, the CIA is the ones that put all the drugs into Harlem and into Los Angeles.
No, they didn't do that.
Yeah. They created the Crips and the Bloods and the Lords and all those gang members that sold drugs.
Yeah, I've heard that over and over again.
Started with coke first and turned into crack because it was much more controlling and much more destructive. And they destroyed parts of Chicago and Philadelphia with that. They were landing that stuff into Arkansas during the Clinton governorship. But here's the point. The point is, when the trade towers were dropped, I think that they wanted to get the national economies, those national banks like the Federal Reserve, and now there's only 3 countries left in the whole earth that don't have Federal Reserve, and that's Iran. They have a national federal bank.
Is that right?
In Russia, and so does China, and that's all Rothschilds and Rockefellers. That goes back 300-400 years with the Rothschilds. So they control the currency of the planet, and they now control the currency of that part of the world. And that's what I think it was all about, because that lasts forever. At some point, oil's going to run out, but that lasts forever.
Yeah.
By the way, we have more reserves in our land of America than they do in Saudi Arabia. Now, a report just came out. We have,
in terms of oil?
Yeah, we have more billions and billions and hundreds of billions of gallons in reserves, untapped, than Saudi Arabia.
And if we released some of that, it would also impact on the oil by the barrel price, wouldn't it?
Oh, sure. That's why it's not. That's why it's not being released. That's why OPEC messes with their pricing all the time. They release more, they release less.
Right.
But we actually so that's the only reason why.
So all those funny speaking English people and Irish will have to come over here?
Well, they're already here.
The shit hit the fan, and
Matt,
we got the 1,000-foot wall.
Haven't you ever seen the gangs of New York? They're already here, man.
I know. I'm just making a joke of it.
Yeah, they'd have to come here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
So we take them through the same that we're taking everybody else through in terms
Absolutely.
Yeah, you think so?
Absolutely.
I don't think so.
No, they've been vetted for 100 years.
Why is there still the wet foot, dry foot rule in play? You know what that is?
No, tell me that one. I might know it, but not by that.
If you come from Cuba and you land on American soil
and you fly,
you're in.
Yeah.
You can't be sent back.
Right.
But if you come from any other country, Haiti or any other Caribbean country, coming here and you land on our shores, it can send you back.
It's a real simple answer.
Why?
because Cuba has been controlled by the organized crime, even though organized crime wasn't there. Their leader was Fidel Castro and his family, okay, and they've been controlled right along. And now, with Obama releasing and allowing Cuba to become part of the world again, I guess at least part of the North American world.
This was before.
No,
all
this
of
was
that.
before, but
Yeah.
that's because we knew what was going on in Cuba, and it's been run by the CIA and organized crime. I mean, as far as everything that I've read, I mean, you have Castro and you have all the terrible things, but come on, man. Castro on an island that produces nothing
Well, that's
and has never
why
produced
I question.
anything.
Why are they?
Because Castro was planted by the CIA to overthrow Batista. Okay, because Batista was in bed with organized crime, and the CIA wanted to be the organized crime unit to run Cuba.
Why did it take 50 years for us to look at Cuba differently?
Because it takes 50 years for things to stretch out, and all the people that worried about it and would have created a big problem are now gone. They're not with us anymore.
So did they send you that contract yet
Which one?
to replace George Norrie?
You know, I'll tell you something. If you can negotiate a contract, George Norrie makes about $20 million a year.
Does he make that much?
Yes, sir.
Wow.
He has like 50 million listeners
Yeah,
overnight and coast to coast.
He's got a big audience.
He used, his show
Worldwide.
shifted. His show shifted. It used to be more controversial, but now it's all they do is talk about ghosts and vampires.
Yeah,
and,
it's
I
pretty
think
heavy.
I think it's stupid.
Yeah, when I'm out driving, so I'll tune over to it.
They're
Yeah.
who cares about ghosts and vampires and goblins and talking to the dead? I don't care about that.
Well, a lot of people up at that time of night. I
They
guess
surely do, don't
they're-
they?
Yeah.
See, I like when they were talking about Fukushima a couple of years ago. You know Fukushima?
Yeah.
Excuse me?
Yeah,
No, I didn't
Fukushima
sneeze.
and I worked together in Hoboken.
Oh, all right. That's right. Oh, it's a Fukushima. Oh, no, Hoboken.
She did the all-night
W2G.
show.
Oh, she was a girl.
Yeah,
Oh, no, that's right. Not Fukushima.
Fukushima.
I bet she was Fukushimi's. How many times a week did you Fukushimi?
Well, it was a regular thing.
Regular
Yeah,
thing?
yeah.
Did her brother Fukushia?
We wouldn't let him in.
Wouldn't let him in. Huh?
No, he was not welcomed. Go home, young man. Your sister has work to do.
That's right. That's a fun thing when you go to different countries. Their names are so odd.
Yeah.
Like they make fun of the Arabic names because there's all the language and the tongue and everything is twisting
it
and
is.
like mishitsi balls,
What about my balls?
mishitsi balls, right?
Yeah, it can get you in trouble.
Right.
And the spelling of names, it drives me. I get a lot of Asian passengers when I'm out doing Uber and Lyft, and I invariably screw their names up all the time.
Do you really?
Oh, yeah, it's easy.
That's why you say, "Hey, baby."
Yeah.
Yeah, honey child. That's right, sweetheart, sir, ma'am.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. You don't mess with people's names that you can't figure out in a second.
I don't go there. I say, "Hi, my name is Lee." What's yours? Oh, okay, good to meet you.
My
I don't try
name
to
is-
repeat it.
My name is Lee. How do you do? Right?
Oh, I got one better than that. I had a passenger or three passengers from LAX to Newport Beach.
Yeah.
Three ladies.
Okay.
They could only speak French. And they were on the wrong level, and I'm trying to tell them to go up to the departure level. She had to get somebody. I guess they could speak French. So a guy came on the phone. He goes, "What do you want me to tell them?" I said, "Tell them to meet me on the departure level at the ride service sign F." Okay? He says, "Okay, I got it." And they were there when I got there. So I guess he translated it such that, but the whole conversation on the way down to Newport Beach was about an hour. I couldn't get a word in, okay? I couldn't understand them, and they couldn't understand me.
Yeah, right.
Right.
Yeah, uh-huh.
And one
Oh,
fell
yeah.
asleep, so
Oh, yeah.
she was sitting up front with me. I kept looking over there. The two in the back were just going away in the French, and I couldn't even hear French fries in it. There was nothing,
That is funny, man.
Yeah.
Do me a favor. Go up on SNL Arabic names, and can we put something up real quick? Are you able to do that?
Yeah, we can bring the audio in with no problem.
Okay.
Saturday Night Live on
Yeah,
YouTube?
SNL. If you Google search it, SNL,
Okay.
Arabic names, okay, you'll get a video with De Niro, and it's the 4-minute and 36-second video. And that's the one that we can play the audio on.
All right, let me see if I can find that. Baby names.
Arabic names.
Okay.
SNL, because it was Saturday Night Live.
Yeah. SNL.
Arabic names. Okay. Then put De Niro in there somewhere, because he's the one that did that. New movie coming out with De Niro, with Pacino, with Joe Pesci, Harvey Keitel, and a couple others. $150 million budget just for the stars.
Wow.
Yeah, new movie coming out,
Just
and
for the talent,
Scorsese is directing it.
Wow.
And I didn't know that Scorsese had never directed Al Pacino. Never once. Not once. What a cast that's going to be, though. You know, can you imagine De Niro? And you know what it's about? You'll love what it's about.
What?
It's about gangsters. Duh.
Wow.
and you know, the gangsters that it's about the gangster that handled all the East Coast. De Niro plays that gangster.
Uh-huh.
And Pesci plays the gangster that handled some parts of the East Coast. And Pacino plays something else. I don't know what that is. No, that's not it. No, you got to go Robert De Niro.
I think this is it.
No, that's not it. No.
Okay.
You got to go De Niro on SNL, Arabic names. Yeah, I think you got it right there. Right there. See? What is that, 4 minutes? The little picture?
This one? Oh, okay.
How long is it?
4:37.
That's the one. That's
okay.
that's the audio to play.
That's Homeland Security.
Yeah. Now,
briefing on Saturday night.
yeah, you got to do that one.
Okay.
Okay. Don't start it yet, though. Put the mic up on it, or however we do that.
It comes to the board.
Okay. So now we talked about goofy names, right? Well, these are the king of goofy names done by De Niro, Arabic names. You got to get past the commercial there, so let that go first. But you know, so yeah, some of these foreign names are really difficult. And we just screw them up, and we don't realize we're screwing them up. It's sort of like when Nixon went to China and he did the peace sign. Remember when Nixon went to China and he did the peace sign and he insulted everybody?
Right.
Because it was like, you know.
That meant something else.
Yeah, like, you know, F you, right?
Right.
Briefing, I wish to announce that on the basis of a change in the nature of Al-Qaeda chatter, we are changing the current threat level to magenta. Let me repeat. The threat level is now magenta. What is magenta? It's a darker maroon. It's not quite an ox blood. It's more plum colored than, say, crimson. How serious is it? I honestly don't have an answer for that. We'll try to have that for you by early in the week. In any case, I'd like to introduce Craig Finson, who's the new senior spokesman for the new Office of Homeland Security, and he'll be happy to take your questions.
Now, this is the name you should name your children, ladies and gentlemen. If you really want to give it to them.
Good afternoon. In the past few weeks, through our national hotline, we have collected hundreds of names of suspected terrorists, and I'm proud to say that most of these calls have come from high school and college students nationwide. In fact, we received over 475 calls alone regarding this man. My balls is Harry. We also received calls regarding such nefarious terrorists as Grabber Booby and Haida Salami. And let this be a message to you, Haida Salami. We will not play your dangerous game. We are also currently searching for a man we believe to be an Al-Qaeda lieutenant who's Bin Fartine, his cousin, Ibn Fartine, and their close companion, Hajit Madror. Question over there?
Yes, is there a way to identify who's been Fartine?
Our operatives have picked up his scent. Also,
Hi, what can you tell us about
Jimmy Fallon.
Ajit Madrours?
we're told that when he was fleeing the scene of his last attack, he left skid marks. He is extremely dangerous. Our sources say that he is plotting to attack New York City, the New York City sewer system, with what we believe it is to be a dirty bomb.
Do you have any other names you're willing to release?
Yes. Please call our hotline at once if you have any information regarding the following men. Shavir Bush, Suka Queer, must have a rod up your pooper.
He's trying not to laugh. De Niro's trying not to laugh. So funny.
I wanna fugia. You'll stroke it, I'll watch, and Puma Deke out, who we believe will be targeting certain adult bookstores sometime in the near future. And this man, the notorious Ulik Medik, a.k.a. you...
My goodness. Thank you, Lee, for joining us and helping us
fun.
out on Thursday.
Absolutely.
It is the Jesse T. Show.
And I know the check is in the mail.
Yes, it is, baby.
Thank you very much.
It's in the mail. Oh, yeah. That's right. Johnny, come along. It's the Jesse T. Show right here. Yes, you're in the world according to Torero, straight on the point. Aha, that's right. Just call me Johnny Wada. Wada what? A Wada you. The juvenile delinquent is coming out in me. The brown beauty is off duty. See ya, you hairy busha.